and welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm Jennifer Anderson, host of the show and executive director of the Georgina Chamber of Commerce. Well, it's a new year. Happy 2022. I'm actually remaining positive because it's been very difficult over the last few days as we taped the show on January 4th, and we did get an announcement on the 3rd for a modified stage 2. So, it really is difficult for businesses to continue moving forward when we have a couple of steps back. So we're going to remain positive. We're going to talk a little bit about this year and how to help people. As people go through the new year, a lot rely on New Year's resolutions. Some make New Year's resolutions, some break them. But the main thing is people really focus on a new year and how they can really resolve to continue with good practices, how they can accomplish a goal, how they can maybe change an undesired trait or behavior. And those are all things that businesses also look at with their practice. So today, on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions for businesses. And we have 3 guests on the show who can help us do this, just that. First of all, I'd like to introduce them to you. Erin Sorenzia is the manager in community relations for Magna International and Neighborhood Network. Hi, Erin.
Hi, good morning. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Thank you for being on the show. David Noronha is with BDO Canada Limited. He's vice president. He's on the show today to talk a little bit about finances. Hi, David.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back. And again, Happy New Year to everyone as well, too.
Thanks, David. And last but not least, we have PC Robert Hands with York Regional Police. PC Hands, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
And I am going to start with you. Let's talk a little bit about crime prevention and your role with York Regional Police.
Well, I'm a crime prevention officer for the 3 district, which is the Georgina area. There are 5 crime prevention officers within the region, 1 per district. And what I do is mostly crime prevention through environmental design. SEPTED is the acronym. And what I do with a business or a home or structure is I look at natural observation, natural access control, territoriality, and the maintenance of a property to prevent crime from happening there.
Well, I think that's an important thing. So as we head into a new year, people have, one of the resolutions that people make personally is for maybe decluttering and for looking at how they can clean up their surroundings. And for a business, that's no different. And often when you look at that for a business, it becomes a safety issue and how can they increase their security?
Correct. So criminals like to commit acts in comfortable environments where the risk of being caught is diminished and the likelihood of success is increased. So from that aspect, decluttering is a good place to start. Being able to look out onto your property and also having the ability of people traveling, doing their day-to-day chores, looking onto your property. If a criminal feels like they're likely to be caught, then chances are they're going to move on to someplace else and find that comfortable environment. So decluttering is a good place to start.
And I love that this is an actual program, that it's not just, it's a good train of thought and it's a good mentality for people to want to be safe, but the actual SEPTED program is what this is all about.
Correct. It identifies deficiencies in any structure, be it a home or business, that may lead to an increase in crime. Some of those problems are overgrown landscaping, blind corners, where there's a lack of light or observation into an area. And this provides a criminal with cover, concealment, and comfort. And like I said earlier, they're looking for those environments to commit their crime. So when we take that environment, that comfort away from a criminal, they're less likely to commit crime at your business or your home.
And I'm not sure that a lot of business owners actually look through the eyes of a criminal in order to be able to see these oversights.
Right. And it's a free service that is available to any resident or business owner in York Region where I can come out. It's provide an assessment. It's a written report at the end of it. It identifies where maybe they're doing things very well, some areas where there can be some improvements made. And again, it's a written report for them. And when I leave, I also leave my contact information. Just because I leave the residence doesn't mean my job is done. I want everybody to know that if they have any questions or concerns at any point in time, that we're a resource that they can reach out to answer their questions.
Now, you mentioned that list. Are there tips and tricks? And I know you mentioned things like shrubs. Are there tips and tricks that you can offer now for people?
You hit the nail on the head when you said criminals looking at a home through the eyes of a criminal. So yes, landscaping is one. Your shrubberies have grown up and covered all your windows. So we'd like to knock them down below the level of the window, and that allows you to see out and people to see in. Lighting in dark areas where it could provide some concealment for criminal cameras. If there is an area that is blind and you can't have access to it, we want to put a mechanical device in there to take away that concealment from the criminal.
And just getting through the holiday season, and I always remember that tip, when you're throwing out your boxes in your blue box on recycling day, and you have that giant TV box, or you have those giant gifts that you receive, that's kind of a big indication of what's inside your home or your business, and perhaps some of those things maybe should be cut down. But I've always remembered that tip, especially as recycling day just happened and I drive down the street and I see the gifts that everybody received for the holidays.
Yes, it's a bit of a tell as to what everybody got for Christmas. But again, yeah, you can just break down the boxes, anything with labeling or pictures on the front, just flip it around and put it together so it's just plain cardboard on the outside. We don't want to make things easy for somebody by identifying what we have for new gifts in our house. So just it doesn't take much, just a little extra time.
Right. So we've been focusing on CPTED in terms of this show today. There's lots of information on the York Regional Police website for that program. But in addition to that, with crime prevention, there's a lot of different areas, neighborhood watch, those types of things that you are involved with that really focus on keeping this community safe and keeping businesses safe.
Yes, Neighborhood Watch is a big one. We are the facilitators for the Neighborhood Watch program in York Region. So anybody wishing to get a program up and running, or one that is up and running, they will go through their district crime prevention officer to facilitate that. But again, yeah, we run the Lock It or Lose It program. So that is reminding people to remove the valuables from their vehicles, lock their vehicles at the end of the day, and don't provide anything that would attract criminals to their area. Warm car, hot car, which is don't leave your vehicle idling unlocked in the driveway where somebody can come up and just drive off in it. We have the video camera registry. So if anybody has a home video camera, they can notify York Regional Police that they have it. So down the road, if there's an investigation or we're looking for a vulnerable person and we know that the person was possibly located in their area, we can go to the person, the homeowner, and ask for their video camera data. We also have, the Neighborhood Watch. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there.
Yeah, so lots of, and all of this information is listed on the website. So there's great content on the website for you to see all the different information. One last question for you, and I'm throwing a wrench in your questions here, but I'm a part of the DCLC committee within Georgina, the Policing Liaison Committee, and it is so refreshing to see how great Georgina is as a community and how safe we are as a community. And I just want to reiterate that because people often lose sight of, seeing the news, seeing negative. There's a lot of positives in Georgina, and those numbers are quite low.
Absolutely. It's the safest district or the least busy with crime anyway in the region. And it is a pleasure to work up here. I've been up here for almost 6 years now in this role, and it's a very, very positive attitude, that's for sure.
Very good. It's a pleasure working with you on the show today. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to turn to Erin now. Erin is with Neighborhood Network, and she is a wealth of information when it comes to volunteering and connecting communities and organizations to local people interested in volunteering. So Erin, want to talk a little bit about, first of all, what Neighborhood Network is?
Well, thank you, Jen. That's a very kind introduction. I hope I live up to it. Neighborhood Network, we really have an amazing job because it's our role as a team to represent Magna International in the community in all that Magna is doing to give back and engage and support communities at a really hyper local level. And so we, among all the many things we do, our real focus is on volunteerism, as you said. And, it's a new year, new ways to get involved, and lots of new needs in our community. So through Neighborhood Network, you can become a volunteer. We have, I think now almost 17,000 registered volunteers, and we have almost 500 different charities, nonprofits, and community groups, many of whom are in Georgina or support residents of Georgina who are looking for volunteer support. And you can find all that information through the website.
So the great thing about signing up to be a volunteer is when you sign up, it just gives you access to the information that exists. You're not actually signing up to one particular place to volunteer or opportunity. It just allows you that access because there really is so many different ways and places that you can volunteer in Upper York Region.
Absolutely. And I think, especially for high school students who are working to complete their 40 community involvement hours, you really don't want to make a commitment unless they're 100% sure. So that exact method of just showing you all the different opportunities that are available is one that we've really taken to heart because it's great feedback for us. And we want to give volunteers, that access to all the different opportunities. But similarly, from a business perspective, if there is an organization or a cause that you think might align with a type of philanthropic, effort within your business, you don't necessarily want to make that commitment until you research the organization, until you understand their volunteer needs, until you understand maybe what your monetary or financial commitment to that organization will be. So the website does allow you to just kind of anonymously peruse all the different needs that exist in Upper York Region. And then when you are ready, again, whether you're a volunteer or a business, you can take that next step forward, and we have all those resources for you.
Well, and that's one of the things that I do love about the website is when you go into the volunteering portal that you can click on if you are a student volunteer, or there's also the button for group requests and business opportunities. So each a little bit different, but it allows you to kind of target because I know there's a lot of businesses in normal times who really want that collaboration piece and working together and team building to be able to go out and volunteer and give back to the community that they work in.
Absolutely. And I think, even though we are not in normal times, I hate that phrase, the new normal, because I don't want it to be true, but we're almost 2 years now. So I guess it is true. This is our normal. But, even in the pandemic situation that we are in right now, there are ways for businesses to get involved. You can do virtual volunteer opportunities that Neighborhood Network can help you coordinate. We partner with other great organizations like Kits for a Cause, where you can, select a charity. I'll use Sandgate Women's Shelter because they have a huge need right now in Georgina, and your business can purchase items that the organization, the charity needs, and then virtually as a team, you can all pack kits and bags and get together and ship, 100 gift bags to clients experiencing homelessness or, dealing with abusive situations in Georgina. So lots of great virtual COVID-safe ways that businesses and any other volunteer can get involved. And again, you can find that through the Neighborhood Network website.
So I'm going to throw out another annoying, you said the new normal. Pivot is another big word. But
you have to say it like Ross from Friends.
Pivot. So as you're talking about that and, packing bags and COVID safe, I know there's a disclaimer on the website as you go in, but there's also, just because the pandemic has happened doesn't mean that the need no longer exists. So there is a lot of pivoting in terms of whether you're, packing within your own environment to help a business, or it's virtual help or virtual volunteering. So there really are a lot of different ways that you can give back in a safe manner in order to continue helping. Absolutely. And Jen, the need is greater than ever. It's
not to bring a damper on our positive spin here, but, we have seen staggering numbers with every program that we run. Most recently, our annual holiday gift drive program, the number of requests doubled. We serviced over 350 individuals, providing them holiday gifts, back in December. And we're just one of many organizations that runs a similar type of hamper and gift program. Our food banks, we know, are really working well and collaborating together to help come up with kind of long-term sustainable plans to deal with this impact of the pandemic. So I would encourage everyone, no matter your circumstance, if you are in a position, even if your position is that you can afford to buy one can of tuna and drop it off to the Georgina pantry, every contribution makes a difference. And again, from the positive side, that's where Neighborhood Network is here to help. We have our finger on the pulse with what these community needs are. We work so closely with all these different charities, nonprofits, and community groups. And if you're looking to get involved in some way, even like I said, if you feel like, oh, maybe my way to help is too small, there's no such thing. And your community will be so grateful for your support and your engagement.
Amazing. One last question for you, because we do have a lot of organizations that are involved with the Chamber and in this community. Organizations can sign up to be a partner with Neighborhood Network. That information is on the website?
Absolutely. Yes. And the other piece, if I could just really quickly say, is remember, when you are supporting a local charity, you can support shop local businesses, buy a local business gift card and donate that to a client of a charity in need. And it kind of fulfills both pieces, right? We're helping the business community and we're helping a local charity.
Absolutely. I'm going to extend that even further, because we know that when businesses do well, they support local. So they give back, they donate to local organizations, they donate to our nonprofit organizations. So it really is, shop local does filter down and help the community in so many different ways. Erin, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Another big piece with New Year's resolutions is finances, dealing with the struggles, getting on track. And David is here to help us. David, you're going to help. That's.
I'll do my very best, I promise.
So first of all, let's talk about BDO Canada. What is your business?
Well, BDO Canada Limited is a service arm of BDO Canada, which is a major accounting firm in Canada. Our specific department goes way back to 1958. We've been assisting Canadians with their debt and credit and financial struggles since then. We're here to provide information, answer questions, hopefully give you a little bit of guidance. And if you really need our services, we're there to take you to the next level, which hopefully won't come about, but unfortunately, in these dire times, we're experiencing that. So we offer valid solutions to help people deal with their debt and credit problems.
Well, I was going to say, since 1958, I'm sure BDO Canada has seen all kinds of different scenarios, different situations, none so strange as a global pandemic, I'm sure. Threw a little wrench in everyone's plans.
You're absolutely correct. I've been doing this almost half that time. And I can tell you, I've never seen anything like this in all my years. I used to be able to tell individuals pretty much seen and done everything when it comes to debt and credit. Up until the pandemic hit, that changed the whole playing field. So we're experiencing and we're adjusting like everybody else is to this, whether you're an individual, a small business owner, a large business owner, or just an employee. Every day it seems to be a new thing happening. And we just saw it happen just before Christmas. And with the new lockdown rules now, again, we're adjusting to that. So we're just trying to be flexible as best as we can. And you and Erin used the correct word. It's pivoting. I mean, it's constant until something sort of plateaus and we're at least hopefully expecting something that we know is going to happen on a regular basis. We just have to be diligent and respond to whatever happens next.
So I have spoken to you and interviewed you a number of times over the years, and I know enough that your message a lot of times is to be proactive rather than reactive. how difficult is that during a time that's a little bit chaotic and so uncertain?
Well, that's the difficulty, because we're playing the guessing game and businesses are doing the exact same thing. Because I would argue up until December, we saw more light at the end of the tunnel. So businesses were probably looking at that thinking, maybe we've just turned the corner, and they're starting to make plans for hopefully a better new year. And then Omicron hits and it just takes off and gets worse and worse and worse. And if you didn't see that coming and you stayed on your old business plan, you may have been caught off guard. Now, if you were proactive and said, you know what, this doesn't look like it's heading in the right direction. I need to have plan A, which hopefully is the positive plan, but I need a plan B just in case. If you didn't have that plan in place for, let's say, the worst case scenario, which we never like to think about, but you have to have it in the back of your mind. Now, then you're reacting and you're caught off guard, and maybe it's costing you a little bit more than if you had something in place that you could have pivoted to, or adjusted, been flexible to, in order to manage the next wave. Because you read reports, and I know people don't like looking at the news because it just seems to be worse and worse and worse, but is there going to be a fifth wave? Is there going to be a next wave? We don't know that. And that's the difficulty in all of this process is we're guessing. And when it's hard to make plans, it's hard to put things in place when we don't know what's going to happen next. But as a business owner, you have to have some sort of roadmap to think where you might end up. And I use the roadmap analogy all the time because you plan to go from point A to point B in a certain direction. But if you're on the highway and there's an accident in front of you, you have to get off the highway and take a detour. That's sort of what you almost have to prepare for now if you're a business owner is. This is what I think is going to happen, but I got to be prepared for these detours that may come up. And what am I going to do when that happens? And that's really the key.
Is it ever too late to prepare for that plan B or prepare for that? Like, so anybody who didn't have that plan B, they can start now. They can really take a look at that and figure out what this next year is going to be like for them.
Absolutely. There's never too late a time. If you haven't done it, you start now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Start thinking about it now. Start putting it down now. And this is where it's really important that you have really good resources at your disposal, whether it be trusted advisors, friends, business associates, accountants, lawyers, bookkeepers, whomever you value their opinion. You need to have that discussion with them to say, hey, what's going to happen? Now, we've seen businesses thrive through this process, and I would argue that those are the ones that were more flexible, communicated with their staff and their employees, as well as their customers, used social media, went online, adjusted, became creative. It's easier said than done, but you can't say, I'm going to go do this tomorrow without some sort of guideline as to how to do that. So do it now. And again, don't just stick to one. Have two or three if you're able to do that. It's what we call, variances. So what if A doesn't happen? Well, then let's go to B. Well, what if B doesn't happen? Do we go to C? Well, maybe something's changed and we can go back to A. You have to have all of those platforms ready in the event that certain circumstances happen, and then you can put a plan in place for that to take place.
Well, and you mentioned businesses thriving, and that was my next question. It's, we focus and tend to focus a lot on the businesses that have struggled during the pandemic because so many have. Yeah. However, there are businesses that have flourished, and not always because they have that plan in place. Some is just by design, by sector, by, circumstance over the last couple of years, but they too need to have that plan and really need to focus because just as easy, there could be role reversals that come up in this crazy situation.
That's absolutely correct. Now, we don't know how it's going to adjust when things get back to quote unquote, as Aaron quoted it, new normal. We don't know, because businesses that pivoted to online presence and thrived, will that continue when things start opening up again? we're not 100% sure. And this is where communication really comes into play, because the more you communicate with your clients, make sure that things are known out there and you're more transparent, for lack of a better description. So in other words, the customer isn't asking you for information. You're providing it so that they don't have to come begging you for what's going on. You're forefront in their mind. You're telling them that. You're making them aware that I'm offering these services. We're open at these business hours. We're being socially responsible. If you do come to our store, if we're allowed to have customers in the store, we're adhering to the guidelines. We're offering you the disinfectants, the PPEs. We're social distancing, making sure that we limit customers. All those sorts of things give the customer some degree of comfort level. If the customer has to struggle to get that information, chances are they're probably not going to be a customer of yours for too long. So again, those businesses that have survived in this because they've done the right things, what's going to happen to them when things come back? We're not 100% sure. So it's probably not a bad idea for them to have that plan B in case things adjust a little bit backwards. I don't think it's ever going to go back to the way it was before, but I think there is going to be a little bit of a shift, but we don't know in which direction. And again, there's that guessing game again.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I don't want to end on a negative note. I was going to ask, though, if you're pulling out your crystal ball, is there any indication of thriving and getting through this successfully for businesses? I know insolvency is up. I know that there's a lot of issues, but any predictions that you'd like to make publicly?
Well, I'm going to look at the glass half full. Okay.
I like that.
We've been in this for almost 2 years now. I would like to believe, and this is my positive side, that we've seen pretty much everything we can possibly see. Whether we get a fifth wave or a next wave, whatever the case may be, we've seen these waves before. If we have done the right things between now and then, we should be able to hopefully survive the next, because we've done those things already. So hopefully we've learned from that and we can use those to help us survive whatever happens next.
I love that. I love the glass half full. I was knocking on wood the whole time with my fingers crossed. Thank you, David, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you to all of my guests on today's show. For more information about Mind Your Business, you can head to our website, georginachamber.com. You can also head to the Rogers TV Georgina website. Lots of information about the show and air times. In addition to that, you can head to the Rogers TV YouTube channel for more information about the show and to view past episodes. Thank you so much for watching on behalf of the Georgina Chamber of Commerce and Rogers TV Georgina, and we'll see you next time on Mind Your Business.